and welcome to the Freeze Podcast, the podcast about hip-hop chatter. It's been a while, but I thought I'd touch base as a lot of things have been happening in the ether lately, so I'd like to discuss it. So, a lot of things to talk about. The first being the Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj beef. I guess Cardi B is sort of just like adjacent, and then just kind of threw into my mind there. So that's one of the things that I'd like to talk about today. The other is Kanye not being able to clear a sample of War Pigs from Ozzy Osbourne because Ozzy Osbourne knows about the comments, the anti-Semitic comments that he's made. And yeah, I'd really like to talk about that, as well as the MacDonald Ben Shapiro song. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one today for sure. So without further ado, I'd like to kick it to the intro before we begin, as standard procedure.
The Freeze
Podcast.
The Freeze
Podcast.
The Freeze Podcast.
Okay. Yes. Hello. And once again, welcome to The Freeze, the podcast about hip hop chatter. Feel free to explore past episodes. Video episodes can be found on YouTube, and the rest of the archives can be found on deepfreezechillin.com if you would like to see the evolution of the podcast throughout the years. So, yep, I'm just keeping it simple this episode. We're doing a solo episode. Basically, I'm just going to talk about stuff that's been in the news, circulating in the news recently in hip-hop media. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj diss tracks. So Megan Thee Stallion came out with a single recently where she even shot a video for it. I forget the name of the song. Megan Thee Stallion. So if you actually listen to the prior episode, we had Tyler, the former co-host, on the show, and this was something I was actually discussing with him. I sent him the track. So the song is called Hiss. Yes, I think this is the one, because there's two. There's Cobra and there's Hiss. So Hiss is there's sort of almost a throwaway bar. I guess not necessarily a throwaway bar, but a sneak diss aimed at Nicki Minaj, where there's a line in reference to Megan's Law. And Megan's Law, I didn't even know like what that was. Like I had to look that up. But Megan's Law is apparently is the name of a law for a federal law in the United States requiring law enforcement authorities to make information available to the public regarding registered sex offenders. And the reason why this is a sneak diss or subliminal towards Nicki Minaj is because both her brother and her husband are registered sex offenders, that's pretty insane, right? Like two people in her circle. So Nicki Minaj did not take too kindly to this being thrown at her, and she came out with this very peculiar diss track. I forget what it's even called. Nicki Minaj diss Megan Thee Stallion. I forget what's the name of the song. Bigfoot. So the song is called Bigfoot, and it's a whole diss track, no subliminal, like it's a blatant diss track towards Megan Thee Stallion. And basically the flavor of it is that Nicki Minaj is basically saying, she kind of like birthed the style of how Megan's kind of rapping, and sort of just had some kind of clever punches in the beginning. So because there are two parts, right? The track certainly devolves in the later portion, where there's like this whispering, and I don't know. I guess it's supposed to be intimidating. I guess that's what Nicki Minaj was going for. But the track isn't very good. You can tell that it's rushed, and Nicki Minaj is doing these, she puts on this big personality, and she usually does do these in tracks, but usually they're well done, right? They're mixed and mastered properly, and like to pull that off, you really need to have some good sound engineering, I think. And this was very much a rush job, and Nicki Minaj also said, like, Megan has 24 hours to respond. But if anything, the diss track kind of disfavored Nicki Minaj in the public's view. Like, basically her putting out this diss track really was kind of like distasteful. So the other thing too is, like, a lot of the allegations made in the diss track didn't make sense. I mean, there is obviously the mention of the Tory Lane shooting and Megan being shot in the foot, hence Bigfoot and so on. But one of the things was, like, a lot of the allegations that I guess Nicki Minaj brings to Megan Thee Stallion are things that Nicki Minaj has done herself. So it's quite odd. This is an article from Hip Hop DX. Megan Thee Stallion claps back at Nicki Minaj. Don't make me call Rock Nation. Megan Thee Stallion has clapped back at Nicki Minaj in response to her Bigfoot diss song and social media attacks. Speaking on the live radio app Station Head. Oh, soundboard's doing crazy stuff again. Coincidentally, a platform favored by Nicki Minaj on Thursday, the Houston native taunted her rap rival by warning her, "Don't make me call Rock Nation." That's such a funny response. Yeah. Okay. This appeared to be in response to Nicki's recent claims that the Jay-Z founded label, which manages Megan, are paying people to badmouth her on social media and employing bots to promote Megan's single His, which sparked the beef. Okay. Tina Snow also appeared to respond to a direct line said by Nicki on Bigfoot, saying, "If we go number one, bitch, I might put the straw back in the Hennessy," referencing his challenging for the top spot on the Billboard 100. This was seemingly a reply to the lyric, "Your flow is such a bore, drinking a bottle of Hennessy through a straw." Honestly, I think that's like the perfect response from Megan, because she doesn't really need to do anything musically. But I did, okay, so just breaking this down a little bit more, I did a bit of a deeper dive, not a whole deep dive, but the Needle Drop actually has a great video on this. Anthony Fantano has a great video on this, saying that, well, like, this wasn't like out of nowhere. It turns out, again, I was going to say Cardi B, Nicki Minaj had been dissing Megan Thee Stallion, like subliminally, or had like sneak disses peppered throughout tracks, kind of like throughout the years, basically since the WAP single came out. And because I guess Nicki felt threatened by, these two female titans of hip hop music kind of joining forces, and she was kind of afraid of the throne being taken away. So it's a little insecurity, or maybe not a little, maybe a lot of insecurity on Nicki's part. So this paragraph, I'll read the paragraph actually before. "These are the first comments that Megan Thee Stallion has made since Nicki Minaj released Bigfoot, which mocked the death of her mother." This is true. That is in the song. "Her shooting at the hands of Tory Lanez and her alleged liposuction, among other things. Nicki has largely been criticized for how she handled the feud, most recently catching flack for comparing Megan's shooting to Chris Brown's infamous 2009 assault on then-girlfriend Ariana. The Young Money hitmaker has also been forced to deny that she's taking cocaine after a number of users on social media accuse her of going on a coke rant." I mean, I think one day, and this is pretty sad, I think one day we are going to see like a VH1 style behind the music of Nicki Minaj, and we're going to learn what's going on behind what's happening, because Nicki Minaj has also appeared on Kai Cenat, who is a Twitch streamer, but he has a lot of rappers on, and it was a big moment for his stream where Nicki Minaj was on the stream, and her behavior is so odd that I kind of believe these allegations that she is addicted to cocaine, and because she's behaving abnormally, and not in like an artist being eccentric way abnormally. It's like there might be like psychological things here going on. Like you might be going through like a rough patch, and yeah, it's just I think that's kind of what it is. I think, you know, Niki's not as much in demand as she once was, and she's feeling threatened. A lot like Eminem in the past, I would say, right? Like Eminem had that whole like Kamikaze album, and there was like this idea of him sort of letting go. But anyways, that's a whole other topic. But I do see kind of like parallels. She singled out the company CEO, Desiree Perez, and said she had a diss track especially for her. She's going to just diss a CEO. That's kind of funny because it's like, how are they going to respond, right? Spending so much money, crying emoji. But she's the little broke independent artist, Niki wrote. Desiree, you got to let it go, baby. The world knows she's ass and can't rap. Stop fucking trying to make fetch happen. Okay, that's pretty funny. Hashtag Bigfoot. I just put out a song with no promo, no video. It already #2. I don't know if that's true. She continued, on the next song, I delve into all the people Desiree allegedly fired for unknown reasons, other things as well. So many people were blindsided and hurt by her allegedly. She just throws that in. Yeah, I don't particularly know, but fix it. She's willing to go broke trying to replace me. So there it is. There's the line that's highlighting she's willing to go broke to try to replace me. That's highlighting the insecurity. Fix it, Jesus. I mean, yeah, Megan's kind of like rapping ability has sort of come into question. I've heard like Adam22 of No Jumper have like, you know, kind of questioned Megan's status. I do kind of feel that some people may think that she's like an industry plant. I wouldn't go that far. Megan can rap. I just don't. I do think she got like a huge push, whereas like, you know, there are other artists that may or may not have been more deserving of promo like this, like a No Name or Tierra Whack or something, or, you know, somebody like that. So the other thing I'd like to talk about is the Tom MacDonald and Ben Shapiro rap video. What's it called? Is it called Facts Over Feelings? What the fuck is the song called? Tom MacDonald and Ben Shapiro. Oh, God. What is the song called? Facts. It's just called Facts. Okay. It's not. It's oh, God. The song is putrid. It is filled with racism, transphobia, homophobia, and it's bad. It's out and out bad. So Tom MacDonald, for those who are unaware of Tom MacDonald, you've been living a blessed life. But Tom MacDonald is a cringy edgelord who got Ben Shapiro on a song as a gimmick, right? As a marketing tactic. And basically, okay, I'm gonna cut it there for a second. And we back. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, the song is putrid. It is trying to like, okay, so Tom MacDonald, like I said, he is a cringy edgelord rapper who is, you know, famously anti-woke or whatever. What was it? What was the track that he like blew up on? Was it White Rapper? It's so he's also like a former wrestler, and there's a lot of lore. So there's fake woke, marked his first appearance. Dear Rappers was the first single. Okay, yeah. So anyway, basically, he's like, he's basically what, like, when somebody thinks of like the anti-vax crowd, he is like the spitting image of, like, you know, a tattooed, edgy person being like, you know, right wing and kind of nutty. And so, yeah, Tom MacDonald has this song called Facts, and he's talking about like people aren't waving the American flag anymore. When Tom MacDonald is Canadian, he's from Alberta, which is really weird. So he's like talking about showing pride in your country, but he's not showing pride to Canada. He's showing pride to America. Like, I get that he's living in America, but I don't even think he has American citizenship yet, because that takes a while. So there is that. So Tom MacDonald, awful song, has Ben Shapiro. And Ben Shapiro, okay, there's several issues with Ben Shapiro on the track. Musically, it's ass, okay? He has like this really like robotic flow where it's like he's not rapping, it's like he's talking at you, which, I mean, that's what Ben Shapiro loves to do. He loves to talk at you. He's one of these, you know, debate lord YouTubers. But on top of that, Ben Shapiro in the past has criticized rap music as not being music. So then why then has he agreed to be on a song with Tom MacDonald, an infamous rapper? So the connotation here is it can't be music because Ben Shapiro believes it can't be music because it's produced by black people. But if a white person is producing it, then he's okay with it. Because why then would he appear on a white rapper's feature, right? Why would he appear as a feature to a, you know, famous anti-woke? And Ben Shapiro's bars are, you know, they're kind of funny. Somebody has, like many YouTubers and so on have speculated that, you know, his bars are have been ghostwritten, which most likely is the case. And yeah, it's such an odd and perverse thing to have done. Because if Ben Shapiro was as principled as he said he is, especially with a take like that, he would not have done that, right? And the other thing is like, but Ben Shapiro appearing on this track, it is disgusting. It is a marketing ploy. It is cynicism. It's cynicism. It's like taking advantage of a situation, but also it's man, it is. So I would say it is artistically bankrupt because, again, Ben Shapiro appears on the track where he is almost a caricature version of himself, right? Which I don't have an issue with this per se, but him involving himself in, for example, the debate of WAP. Like when WAP was popular, he came out criticizing that because there were two prominent, you know, black female rappers who were very sexualized, and you can criticize the sexual nature of that content, fine, right? But Tom MacDonald's not much better if you're trying to take the moral high ground. You know, like Tom MacDonald, I believe, says something about like, you know, the money and clothes, like he's not advertising, but in the song he contradicts himself. So it's very stupid. It's repugnant. It's repugnant is what it is. Like I said, it is artistically bankrupt, creatively bankrupt, I should say. And this is the other thing. This is Tom MacDonald's whole shtick. He's been doing this for a while. He's been doing this for a long time, right? This is how he basically picked up traction. Like Joyner Lucas also had this kind of thing where there was the whole thing about the the video from the MAGA dude's perspective. I forget what was the video. But Joyner Lucas has moved on. I'm not racist. So Joyner Lucas did this back in 2017, right? So there was Joyner Lucas and Tom MacDonald. Joyner Lucas has moved on. He's worked with like Eminem and Logic and, and okay, he went viral and he had the moment, but he used that to move on and build a career. Tom MacDonald has found this like niche within like conservative rap. Like, it's so weird. Like, who wants this? Who is this for? You know what I mean? Because the people who I feel would listen to Tom MacDonald are not listening to rap music, right? Like, there's not, that's because, and I think I discussed this in the Evolution of Emo episode. So in the Evolution of Emo episode was actually an idea I got from a stream that I did where I looked at Finn McKenty, who's known as the Punk Rock MBA, talk about emo rappers. And in that video, he has a matrix delineating basically what is considered emo in terms of like, or emo rap, trap metal, and so on, basically between the music and the culture. And the culture makes a difference, right? The culture is almost more important than how something sounds sonically. So Tom MacDonald is not a part of the culture. At this point, Lil Dicky has more of a claim to hip-hop culture than Tom MacDonald. And I don't fucking like Lil Dicky. I mean, and again, this is something that I've debated my former co-host in the past. And it's kind of funny because I do think Tyler has, over the years, come to more so agree with me in terms of like Lil Dicky's placement in hip-hop and how, like, there is maybe somewhat of a sincere or earnestness to Lil Dicky where he wants to participate in the culture, but he doesn't understand basically sort of the problematic nature of what he's doing at times, and he's not self-aware. It's a lack of self-awareness. Tom MacDonald, it would be too convenient for him not to be self-aware, right? So I wouldn't say Tom MacDonald's not self-aware. Maybe he's not, right? But it's almost too convenient for him to not be self-aware. So he's probably self-aware, and like I said, he's carved out this niche, but it's bad. It's very, very bad. It's bad in the way that like Hobson is bad, but worse, because it's taking all the worst elements of culture and basically saying, here, I've made this garbage for you. That's what this song is. Anyway, I will probably move on from there. The song apparently hit the Billboard charts. I think it made the top 10. Ben Shapiro had said for people to support it. Yeah, God. So there is that. Anyway. Okay, so the next story I want to talk about, because I saw this recently, and this is actually kind of because the other stories are a bit old now, but this is the story that I wanted to talk about today, which is Ozzy Osbourne says anti-Semite Kanye West samples his music without permission. I want no association with this man, the rocker wrote of the rapper. So Ozzy Osbourne, who is known for his theatrics, for being a showman, has unequivocally disavowed Kanye West and says he wants no part of Kanye's bullshit. I, for one, applaud this man, because Kanye, time and time again, when he's given some leniency, proves that we shouldn't be extending, the the rope that we're giving him. You know what I mean? There are a lot of Kanye supporters out there like just didn't want to believe it, but it's time. It's time that we just say this isn't okay and we can no longer support his music, like listen, I will still listen to old Kanye tracks, right? Like I'll listen to College Dropout, I'll listen to Late Registration, and I'll listen to Graduation. That's pretty much about it. 808s, Kid Cudi wrote like half that project, I think. And basically the way he's treated Cudi is another thing for me personally, why I don't like this man, why I don't like Kanye. He's just kind of refused to mature in any sort of way other than musically. So Ozzy Osbourne refused permission because he's anti-Semite and has caused untold heartache to many. So he went to sample. So he sampled Ozzy anyway. And Ozzy's like, I don't want to be involved in this drama, basically. You know what I mean? Which is good for Ozzy. I mean, there was the whole thing too where Kanye has now implicated fucking Peggy has implicated oh God, what is his name? Peggy rapper. JPEG Mafia. I couldn't think of the name for some reason. So JPEG Mafia has a photo with Kanye. JPEG Mafia, Kanye, and that was making the rounds. And JPEG Mafia, Kanye West, because JPEG Mafia worked on Vultures. And in the photo, Kanye is wearing a Burzum shirt. And Burzum is a rock group. I believe it has heavy metal, Norwegian black metal group that has used like neo-Nazi, like imagery. Is that what it is? And it's like, Kanye, man, you're not beating the allegations, man. What the fuck? Burzum. Okay, it's not in the wiki, which I find odd, but Burzum controversy? Burzum. Yeah, so, I mean, Huffington Post has a article, the heavy metal racist. I think it's the lead singer. He had been... member is the most notorious figure in heavy metal. In 1994, he was sentenced to 21 years in prison for murder and participation in the burning of several Norwegian churches. Every day, kids sport Burzum shirts that are quietly sold at head shops and rock booths all over the world without so much as a raised eyebrow for wearing something so affiliated with racial hatred. So, yeah. Kanye is, I get he's trying to be provocative. But hey, man, if Ozzy fucking Osbourne is saying you're going too far, then you're going too far, right? We're talking about a guy who bit off the head of a bat, right? So, and times have changed, right? So there is that. I mean, there was a metal band, again, I'm going to reference the Needle Drop and Anthony Fantano. He mentioned there was this video where a heavy metal band basically brought like pig parts and threw it on the crowd, but then came out with a public apology, which was very odd. I do have, I mean, this is totally tangential, but I do feel like I have a solution to this. Why don't they just have a content warning and basically saying, hey guys, we're going to throw a pig or have pig's blood. If you're not down for that, please leave. We understand this is going to be upsetting, yada, yada, yada. Like, because it's other bands have done these kinds of things in the past, so it's not exactly new. You are trying to be provocative, but you also don't want to upset people. So it's like, try to somehow find a middle ground? I don't know. I don't think it's that difficult, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, that's totally tangential and has nothing to do with hip hop or the podcast. But I just remember thinking like, maybe if they put like, after 11, we are going to do X, Y, and Z. And if you're not down with this, we understand. You know what I mean? Give people the option to opt out is what I would say. Speaking of which, I think at this point, people have to opt out of Kanye, right? He's putting out this project called Vultures. And I think musicians shouldn't work with him. I really think that's the case at this point. I think Kanye, if Kanye didn't have as much money as he had now, he would have absolutely been blackballed, right? How could he not? So, and it's a shame because Kanye was a great artist, was a phenomenal artist, but we can't support this man anymore. You know what I mean? It's like R. Kelly. Look at what R. Kelly got away with, right? Because people just supported his music, right? Like he was getting away with murder for years. Not literal murder, but the things he got away with. If an artist wasn't near, if an artist didn't have that level of success, he wouldn't have had that layer of protection. Where it kind of went like as an open secret in not Hollywood, well, maybe Hollywood, in the music industry, right? So there's that. So Ozzy Osbourne wants no part to do with this man. So the listening party in question went down Thursday night, February 8th at Chicago's United Center, along with the release of Talking Once Again, Ye's single with Ty Dolla $ign featuring the Donda rapper's 10-year-old daughter, North. This is another thing. So he was complaining about Kim Kardashian, I guess, letting his daughter wear clothes or whatever, which fine, like he, I guess it's stepping in as a father and saying, hey, like you're kind of pushing it a bit, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. But if you're pushing your 10-year-old daughter in front of like millions of people in like when you have this crazy level of fame, that's not much better, dude. Right? Like that is going to do something to her mentally. Like she's not fully developed yet. So I don't think that's good either. So his much-delayed album, Vultures, was scheduled to drop the following day. However, there was no sign of the project on streaming services at press time. Osbourne's claims come more than a year after Ye's initial controversies involving anti-Semitism and the slogan White Lives Matter. Oh yeah, that's right. He made clothes that said like White Lives Matter, which led to his dismissal from many lucrative business partnerships and caused him to lose his billionaire status. In December, he extended an apology to the Jewish community for any unintended outburst caused by my words or actions. It was not my intention to offend or demean, and I deeply regret any pain I may have caused. He's saying that after he heard his checkbook. Like, let's be real here, right? So he wrote on Instagram at the time, I am committed to starting with myself and learning from this experience to ensure greater sensitivity and understanding in the future. Your forgiveness is important to me, and I am committed to making amends and promoting unity. Okay. Where is the Auschwitz? If Kanye really wants to make amends, I think he should go in private and solemnly spend some time in fucking Auschwitz. And he should go around looking at the imagery and going to like a Holocaust museum, and that's what I think the path of making a public appeasement statement. No, dude, you're not doing shit. So that's my thoughts on that. Let me see if there's any last minute thoughts just to round out the news topics for the day. So doesn't seem like there's Vultures. Usher's performing at the Super Bowl halftime show. Meh. What? What? Oh my god, that's funny. Mhm. Joe Budden podcast. Yeah, I'm surprised the Joe Budden podcast is still a thing. I see Rory and Maul still going strong. I'm happy for those dudes. Sort of getting under the shadow of Joe Budden. Yeah, I don't know. I think that might be it. I feel like there's nothing really else newsworthy. New hip hop. I don't know. Hot new hip hop. Let's see. Kanye. Of course, Kanye is like the big story. Okay. This is an interesting one. Okay, this is another one I'll talk about because this is actually a pretty big story, hip hop related, but also within like streaming and stuff. So, or entertainment, I would say in general. So, Kick streamer, who Adin Ross, who was banned from Twitch for saying stupid shit, basically made a deal with Playboy Cardi where he was going to pay him an exorbitant amount of money to appear on a stream. Basically, people thought Playboy Cardi was not going to show up at all. Playboy Cardi did end up showing up in basically a pitch dark room for 6 minutes. Wasn't really entertaining. And basically, it's alleged that Adin Ross paid like $6 million or something. So apparently he didn't really pay $6 million, but it was still like an exorbitant amount, maybe half of that, maybe not even half of that, but anything approaching that is absurd. So now, because 21 Savage is apparently friends with Adin Ross, which I did not know that, but fans are starting to question just how real the drama between 21 Savage and Adin Ross was as the rapper performed on SNL. Several fans questioned whether the claims that 21 used marked cards to scam hundreds of thousands of dollars out of Ross was simply a way to promote 21's turn on the popular late night show. I don't know if I don't know if that's real, because 21 in the Playboy Cardi shit, like 21 was like the voice of reason to Adin Ross and told him not to do that, basically. 21's appearance was overshadowed by the scandal with Ross, as well as controversial host Shane Gillis. Gillis had briefly served as part of SNL's cast in 2019 before being... Okay, that's not true. As far as I know, Shane Gillis never got to do a on-air episode of SNL. He was basically announced, and as soon as he was announced, basically the allegation, or not even allegations, but basically the recordings of him doing racist material, or what would be considered racist material, basically appeared, and basically the public outcry made Lorne Michaels and SNL drop Shane Gillis from SNL, which, I mean, I guess is fair depending on, I mean, SNL themselves have done, kind of like provocative skits over the years. It is also in a, kind of intended for like adult audiences, right? So I don't, like, I heard the Shane Gillis clips. I don't think they're as bad as I remember. Like, I've heard Come Town and like Adam Freeland and Nick, forget his name, but you know, I've also heard them kind of do like bits that are a little unsavory as well. Not that they're being on SNL, but I digress. I could do a whole fucking separate other podcast about comedy. Further evidence concerning the idea that it was faked came on 21's own website. Days after the scandal, 21 started selling branded Dyson cards as merch. That seems on brand. The set of 3D6 dice in a velvet bag costs $25, while a back of regulation playing cards costs $15. At the time of writing, the playing cards have already sold out. New merch was released with very little fanfare, but clearly inspired by the ongoing scandal with Ross. Adin Ross confirms 21 Savage reimbursed him after marked card scandal. Wait, so 21 ripped off Adin Ross? Okay. Meanwhile, during a phone call with Kai Cenat, Adin Ross cleared the air about the ongoing situation with 21. First, Ross made it very clear that he did not blame 21 for using marked cards during the recent high-stakes gambling stream. Oh, God. And yeah, this is the other thing with Kick, because Kick is funded by both cryptocurrency and gambling, because that was a whole thing with Twitch. They had like slots, and basically a lot of high-profile streamers were not in support of that, so they wanted it off the platform. So basically, that is where those things moved to Kick.com. So gambling is allowed on Kick.com. Instead, Ross placed the blame on a member of Savage's crew. Of course, they're going to take the fall, right? Furthermore, Ross confirmed that since the stream, he had received $250,000 payment from 21 to settle their debt. Cenat was simply happy that Ross, a close friend of his, had got that bread. That's pretty funny. Okay. Good guy Kai, I guess. It appears the pair settled on $250,000 after a variety of numbers were thrown out following the stream. 21 initially promised to pay $400,000. Okay, this is just them like debating. Like, I get it, they were gambling high stakes money, but are 21 Savage and Adin Ross not friends? Because based on their interaction with what scam 6 days ago. So Adin Ross seems like he lives to be scammed, because he was scammed by both 21 Savage and Playboy Cardi. Adin Ross, 21 Savage telling his friends to get the cards. So yeah, there you go. There you have it. There's apparently footage of 21 giving out the order. Yeah, I don't like Adin Ross really at all. But yeah, there you go. So that's the final news item. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I was going to say the stream. I hope you enjoyed the podcast or found it entertaining or informational. Informational, is that a word? Informative. Thank you. I hope you found the podcast informative, entertaining, and entertaining. And I'd like to start doing more episodes of the podcast once again. But yeah, I've been kind of not at a creative dearth, but kind of I've been kind of finding myself lagging ideas for the podcast lately. So then when I found some stuff that was topical, I was like, oh, let me talk about this on the podcast. But now, of course, I have to rush to edit this and get this out. So hopefully that will all work out in the end. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you're watching this, assuming you're watching this on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe to the video, as it does help the algorithm. Thank you. Cheers.
The Freeze.
Podcast.
The Freeze.
Podcast.
The Freeze.